Well, mate, what are we going to talk about on Planet Haltech today?
Well, we've got a heap of world records. There's been a lot of stuff happening over the last month.
We're going to duck over to Europe and look at some hill climbing. We've got some events that we went to and some new products.
We've got new products. We've got changes to the product lineup. We've got different web store. We've got different merch.
New merch, and we probably should also talk about Planet Haltech and exactly what that is. So let's get into it.
So to kick off this episode, we should first talk about what is Planet Haltech. It's going to be a video series that we do every month-ish or so that gives you a bit of an idea about what's going on at Haltech, what's going on with our races.
New products, things like events that we've been to, obviously merchandise, just anything that's going on in the world of Haltech, Planet Haltech. You mentioned the achievements of races, mate. One of it's probably we should start with that, a big achievement from our mate Anthony Maatouk.
We've got something great to kick off with for the first episode. He's given us something to talk about.
Really older there, Smishy's there, bounces around. Maatouk sits on the line but gets away. The time's going to be quick though. 5:85. Wow.
Oh, there you go. 5.85 at 246 mile an hour. That's a fantastic achievement. What setup is that running?
So this thing, it's got an RB30 that Anthony Maatouk from Maatouk's Racing and Nader have been sort of toying with for a while now in Nader's R32, which is a very famous.
King 32.
Yeah.
You'd have to say that they are basically the best RB guys in the world.
Well, this is it. Well, what have we got here on the records here? We've got world's fastest Nissan, world's quickest RB, Australia's quickest import, and Australia's first 5-second RB.
And that was their second run off the trailer, so there's more in it, hey?
What do you say? Like, those guys are a world-class act. They have absolutely got it together.
Speaking of world-class act, there's some Haltech gear in it. Running a Nexus?
Nexus R5 controlling the whole car.
Right.
Everything, it launches the parachutes, it controls the engine, which has got 3 stages of fuel injection. It's obviously the RB30, like we said, so it's got a twin-cam 6-cylinder.
It's a manually shifted car.
It is.
How manual? Is the Nexus shifting any of that, or is Anthony shifting all that himself with a clutch?
Yep, shifting it. It's a full clutch car, that's right. So they set up all the weights on the clutch as well. That's a whole talent and a completely separate profession in itself.
That's amazing.
That's the quarter mile pass we're talking about. But in the 8th mile, it ran under 4 seconds to the 8th. And in anyone's standards, that is a serious race car, because people who set cars up to run 8th mile, if you run under a 4, killing it. So all around, they've done an incredible job with that.
On to fast 8th mile cars, our friends over in the US have also been having a bit of success.
Yeah.
Jason Lee,
PTP race cars. So him and Patrick Barnhill, unbelievable. So he went 3.499 in the 8th. Mile an hour, 209 mile an hour. So to put that in perspective, remembering that an 8th mile, or close enough to 201 metres, 0 to 200 metres away, 3.49, 209 mile an hour. It's insane.
That's phenomenal. And that's not quite the record, is it? He's like a...
Well, I forgot to mention just then, that's on a radial tyre as well.
Yeah, right, okay.
And when you say that far away, the record is, so Daniel Farris, who is another one of the US racers, 3.498. So it's 1/1000th of a second. Different cars, different configurations, different people tuning them, different people doing the chassis, different people doing everything. And that speaks to me to show that in 1/1000th of a second between the two of them, that they are so close to the theoretical limit of what's actually going on here. And if two different teams are separated by 1/1000th, absolute top of their game.
It's amazing.
That right there is what, say, 4,000 to 5,000 horsepower, 4.4 Gs of acceleration.
That's wild.
And a 0.88 in the 60. They're all crazy numbers.
And you said that's a ProCharger car. That's a thing that we see a lot in the States now. They're becoming more popular here. A lot of people are still running turbos here. Is there obviously they think there's an advantage to the ProCharger?
I think so. I think the ProCharger setup's really cool because it's super consistent. So turbocharger, you've got that, there's another element there of your different boost pressures, where on your supercharger sort of style setup, at a particular RPM, you make a particular boost pressure, then you can bleed off whatever you want off your intake pipe. So this is a really, really good way to race competitively.
So these guys would run something like a wastegate or something, or a blow-off valve on the intake just to bleed off a bit of boost.
Yeah, just to control the launch pressure. Some of them might not. You might use RPM and drop RPM in order to achieve the right launch pressure. Depends on how the team sort of sets the car up. But yeah, overall for that setup, for the power it's making, consistency, super clever. Turbocharging, they're probably going to get a bit more mile an hour out of it.
Okay.
But mate, the supercharger car seems to be where it's at.
From those guys, I want to go now away from drag racing and have a look at some hill climb racing.
Those guys have got balls.
It is wild. This guy in particular, Karl Schagerl.
Right.
Karl Schagerl.
This sounds like one of your mates.
Not that type of Schagerl, Karl Schagerl. He's an Austrian guy. He has been in Portugal competing in the FIA European Hill Climb Championship. Had a bit of a rough start. What's this? He actually hit the Armco on his first run. Big hit, like you could hear it thump when he hit the barrier.
And you can even hear the bit of it, like it takes him a second to go,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
shit.
He's off the pedal and he's like, back on the thing.
Hot looking car.
Yeah, that's it's a Volkswagen. It's a Golf Rally. It's all-wheel drive. It's kind of a real special thing. But so yeah, obviously under pressure after hitting the barrier, but he rose to the challenge and he's now actually in first place in the FIA European Hill Climb Championship in Class 1, which is for enclosed cars, like not open-wheel cars. But like, yeah, all of them.
The car sounds like the real deal with that sequential box slapping away.
Just listen to this 2-litre turbo. That is awesome. That is so cool. As you say, when he goes through the corners, you can hear and see the rally anti-lag. Not running a Nexus.
Interesting.
Yeah, running an Elite 2500.
Yeah, right.
You can obviously still go very fast on Elite.
He's put a lot of development into that, I suppose. So he's got his setup right. He's got everything just exactly the way he wants it. And the gearbox sounds amazing as well.
Yeah, the sequential shifts.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So all these guys have been out setting records, and that's because this pandemic's finally starting to lift. We're actually getting out and about. We're racing and we're getting to some events.
We've been to some events close to home. We went to MotorEx. It was awesome to get back to Melbourne, Australia's second best city. Check out some of the really cool cars that were there. The quality was fantastic.
So tell us, what was one of your favourites that was there at MotorEx?
Well, let me show you. So, first time back at MotorEx since 2019. Everyone's had plenty of years to polish the cars, build something new. It's all here, it's great. Let's go have a look. Some people have spent a little bit too much time polishing. Broke the suspension too. Okay, I'm catching up with Glenn from Moit's Motorcars. Mate, this is the first time the Moit's Motorcars been on display at a MotorEx or any event. How are you finding it?
It's a little overwhelming for us, to be honest. Yeah, we're doing well, man. We've had huge interest. Everyone loves the Camaro finished. Everyone loves the concept behind the chassis stuff. And
so tell us a bit more about the Camaro. This is the first Moit's motor car.
Yep.
What's it built for? What's it going to do?
Okay, so there's a bit of a story behind that. We were contracted by Customers for Cancer, which is a charity organisation who's trying to raise some funds for Cancer Council of Australia. They've done a couple of raffles so far, and they asked us to build them a 68 Camaro. That's why we contacted you guys, and Haltech got on board, helped us out with an elite ECU and the IC7 dash, all the sensors and stuff, and proved absolutely perfect. The first run on the dyno, the car was amazing. And everyone loves the look and the feel of these old cars, but you know, you're in them for 5 minutes and you kind of get a bit sick of they don't stop, they don't handle. Incorporating the Roadster Shop chassis, you get, you know, brakes from today, suspension from today, handling from today.
Engine management from today.
Engine management from today.
One of the cars that's been finished off in the last couple of years is this Epic XP. And trust me, it is epic. It's got a twin turbo Viper V10 engine. The thing's immaculate. It's rightfully won a bunch of trophies here at MotorEx. And one of the things that I like about it is that it's all powered by a Haltech Nexus R5 with a CAN keypad, and it's got an IC7 dash. Take a look, it is awesome. Hey Sander, if you're listening. Okay, I'm certainly not a giant like Scott, but I am a normal-sized human being. This isn't an optical illusion. This is a Monaro, a Holden Monaro, but it's miniature, a miniature muscle car. These guys have been building these. They've got a Rover V8. They run a Haltech ECU. They've got 2 on the road at the moment. There's 5 more coming, and then there'll be 5 more after that, and then we'll have a race series, and that is going to be awesome. This is cool. This is an 80 series with a 40 series body with a Barra and a Haltech IC7. This looks familiar. If you haven't watched our video on it, you should. Street Machine Jag... Street Machine... That's really hard to say. Street Machine Drag Challenge is a huge event here in Australia. In fact, they now have 3 Street Machine Drag Challenge events. People are starting to build cars specifically to race in those, just like this newly finished Bram. This type of build really is perfect for Drag Challenge. It's a big sedan, you've got plenty of room for your passengers and crew, you've got big rubber under back, it's got a big engine, it's got big turbos, it's tuned by Justin at Horsepower Solutions, and it's all done on a Haltech ECU. Nissan Pintara, eh? Be cooler if it was a Skyline. Mad. I'm too sexy for my spec. Too sexy for my spec. So sexy it hurts. Like it or not, sex spec is back, I think. Some of those are classic cars from back in the day.
So, not a setup. Something I haven't actually told you probably is that back in the day, so while I was in high school, I also used to work as sort of moonlight as a mechanic, you know, for the local mechanic.
Okay.
Who had a hookup with mainline automotive systems at the time.
Okay.
Long story short, I used to be the guy, one of the labourers at the dyno at Auto Salon for all of these cars in the very, very early 2000s.
Wait, those cars went on the dyno?
Yeah.
They're not just for putting with
100%.
tilty wheels and bling and...
Super leather, shiny as they get, but to get points you had to put them on the dyno,
Right.
and forfeiting the dyno would mean that you almost certainly couldn't win.
Right.
So they would put them on and they make, 100 kilowatts. Like some of the big bangers at the time made, 300 kilowatts or 400 horsepower.
Wow. Different to show cars these days. There were some cars there, you would have seen that twin turbo V10, it's an XP Falcon. It's a Viper V10, we've got a Nexus in that. I don't know. What sort of power do you think something like that makes?
If it's a full show car, I don't know, 800, 1,000 horsepower. And obviously you met up with Glenn and maybe Bill from Moitz with the Camaro.
God, you have to. Oh, you've seen that car in the middle.
You've driven that car.
Dude. You have to see that car. It is fantastic. The interior, the paint, everything. It's mint.
This is the sort of thing like what they show, like dedication to the build.
Yeah.
11 out of 10, straight up. And you don't say that about every build. But this thing, insane.
I would love to see a Haltech Hero video or something on that Moits motor car.
All right, well, we can give them a ring, and we could get that into our offices to shoot it, but
I've been to our offices.
The Moits factory is pretty amazing, so I reckon we might sneak out
on the phone to Glenn and see what he says.
So next up on the events was the NORA 1000. And Richard, I don't know a lot about this one, so tell me a bit about what happened there.
All right, so it's an event that was held in Mexico. It's run on the same course as the Barra 1000, so pretty grueling. Not quite as bad because instead of trying to run it in one day, they run it in stages. It goes for about a week. But we had some success there. Mark Murrell and the Fire Guys Racing. So we did a video on their 3RZ powered truck not long ago. If you haven't seen it, go on up here, I think, over there, mate.
Is this thing 3RZ power? What did they win in?
This isn't. So these guys won the vintage short wheelbase 4x4 class.
Yeah, right. Okay, so there's probably some rules and regulations for what they're doing there.
I'd imagine so. They won it in a Jeep Wrangler, and I know that it had the 6-cylinder engine out of the Wrangler in it.
Wow.
Running an Elite 750.
Yep, nice.
But yeah, won the race, and we actually had a couple of guys over there. We had Chris from our US team following them around with some cameras, so later on, we might have a full video up on the Haltech YouTube channel for you to check out.
I was hoping you'd say we got some video of that because I like that style of racing.
Speaking of utes and trucks and things that shouldn't go fast and do, the Haltech SuperUtes series was, they had a race in Perth, Australia.
Yeah, they did. It went really, really well. So that's the ute series that follows around the V8 supercars here in Australia. So they're in tradesman style utes. If you haven't caught up with them, definitely worth taking a look. But
like a pickup truck for Americans.
Yeah, a pickup truck. These things have normally got sort of 4-cylinder diesel engines in them.
Not anymore.
These do not. So these are all LS powered. They've got the full suspension set up. They're the real deal race cars. In the event that happened at Perth over the weekend, Alex Borg actually came over the line first. He won the race, but
bit of controversy.
There was a bit of controversy because these utes, they breathe fire. There's rubbing, there's bumping, like. There was a little bit too much rubbing, apparently. He got a 5-second penalty. So in the end, it was actually Ben Walsh who came first. Poor Alex, because he got that 5-second penalty, he actually ended up coming 6th. And
that's not a big gap, though.
Man, like 5 seconds. Yeah.
5 seconds between first and 6th that's pretty close racing. And if you do watch them racing, it is so close, they run into each other all the time.
I think the controversy was that there was a penalty for bumping.
It was a bit too close.
Because there's a lot of bumping. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. The fire that comes out the side is amazing, and these guys are spirited and keen.
Did you do that? You did the spec tune for all of those, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Is that a deliberate thing? You wanted the fire to come out for that?
Honestly, it was one of the things on the paperwork that they wanted. Those things have got R5s in them with full terminated harnesses to suit the class rules.
So the R5 runs everything in that car?
The car. Headlights, tail lights, indicators, wipers, the whole LS engine, obviously.
Yeah, right.
The lot. If you want to buy one of those cars, you absolutely can as well. So they do like a...
Yeah, they do a package go racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turnkey, they'll deliver it even to the racetrack, do the lot, and you just go and race one of these utes in the top tier racing in the country.
And have a fantastic time.
So if you're just learning about all of these events now, that means you've already missed them. But the good news is we've got a heap of events coming up.
The big one, Haltech Hyperfest at Virginia International Raceway. Did I get that wrong? It's in Virginia, the Virginia International... I can't say... Virginia.
Just say it. It says...
Virginia International Raceway.
Keep going.
So yeah, Haltech Hyperfest at Virginia International Raceway is on right now. It starts today. On this weekend, if you're in that area, go and see it. It is a massive car festival and looks to be a lot of fun.
Man, they do it big, and they barbecue and do all the good stuff. So it's not just about cars.
Music festival, like the lot. They're like really cool. Bit closer to home, Sydney Jamboree's coming up. I would expect to see a certain fast import there.
Well, the fastest import, that'd be an RB.
An RB that we spoke about earlier. We're hoping for big things from Anthony and the team again. And towards the end of the month, we've got Motive's GTR Festival, DDR Festival, as some people like to say.
Nice. Well, we don't have a GTR, but I reckon we could make an appearance there and...
We've got an R31. It's close. Should we race it?
I feel like now that they're so hard to get, if you've got an R anything, it's like, whatever.
It's got an RB in it.
Yeah.
Reckon it can get into the 10s? You think we should take it and see if we can get into the 10s?
If we take that car there, it will run a 10-second pass.
Guaranteed. Yeah. You heard it here. Scotty, the tuning fork. All right, let's get away from the events a bit. What's been happening in this building here? We've had some new products come out and some...
A lot of stuff's been happening. Over the pandemic, obviously we've spent nearly 2 years here, so we've had all of the software releases, heaps of firmware releases, and new product stuff. So the first thing, the PD16 has finally been released.
Yes, and a big thing for people.
Oh, power distribution is a serious thing. Now that cars have gone the way they are, being able to use a power distribution module and add it to any of your Elite Series ECUs has been a game changer. So
this box, it means you can not have your fuses and relays, right?
Spot on, yeah.
Okay.
So what it is, think of it like a really, really fast switching or a solid state relay, but a heap of them in one box.
Okay, and it's got inputs too.
Inputs?
So it's not just outputs to, yeah.
Yeah, so think of it like one of the I/O boxes that we used to have on steroids. So it makes it separates it, so it makes the harnessing easier, and it makes building on the platform better. So say, for example, you put an Elite 750 in your, I don't know, 6-cylinder Jeep, and then you get a bit more serious about racing across the desert, you might want to put one of these in the boot in order to do your staged fuel pump setup and have a whole bunch of extra inputs and outputs, but you don't have to change your ECU.
Now, you'll be able to explain this better than me, but one of the things that people have been talking about is the ability to just plug it into your existing Haltech system and it it just works.
It does, yeah. So look, PDMs are nothing new. They've been around for a while. Haltech has not had one until now. One of the reasons why for that is they're very, very complicated to use normally because all of this CAN network stuff I'm talking about, think about it like really loosely, think about it kind of like a communications language or a sort of computer language where you put all of your wires into it, all your analog signals, all your switches, all of your inputs and outputs, then you would essentially have to code that box and your engine management system to be able to communicate.
Right.
Mate, it's complicated.
And what happens now is you basically plug it in and then the NSP software goes, your ECU is now bigger.
You've just got more inputs and outputs. All right, well, we won't keep going on about that because there are already videos about the PDM. Matt did a video about exactly how it works.
Yep. Mate, let's talk about the Elite Series. There have been some changes.
Talking about in stock.
In stock.
The world's changed is truthfully what's happened. Over the last couple of years, there's been, you might have seen probably a lot of news media talking about the silicon chip shortage. That is the little black square that's inside most of your electronics, factory cars, mobile phones, laptops, dashes, engine management systems.
And they're a bit hard to come by.
They're very hard to come by. So out of our control, you can't just start making silicon chips. Like it's an insane process that I know enough about and still can't understand how they actually work. It's incredible.
And there's only a couple of places in the world that actually make them.
So what we've decided to do here at Haltech is we've lowered the product range a little bit, or we've reduced the product range a little bit. So the Elite 550 and the Elite 950, the VMS and the VMS-T have been discontinued.
And the 1000 and 2000. So we've got our core range, we've got one single connector ECU, the 750, and we've got two of the twin connector ECUs still available, and of course the Nexus, and that really covers all bases, doesn't it?
It really does, and we've had to do that in order to make sure that we can supply everybody with engine management systems and that we don't have some systems on the shelf with valuable microprocessors just chewed up while somebody else has to sit and wait, because even though you do buy these microprocessors, say 12 months, 18 months, 2 years out, what we're finding is happening in the whole industry is that when we expect those parts to be delivered, the delivery simply doesn't turn up. You would go to the manufacturer or you go to the supplier and they would apologise. It's not their fault. It's as simple as those parts just aren't available. They don't exist when you expect them to. That leads me on to just quickly the one unit we didn't talk about is the Ford Falcon plug-in series. We know that these things are super hot at the moment.
Yeah, it's an Elite on the sticker, but it's different to the other Elites. The guts, the little black chips, slightly different, right?
It is. It needed a bunch of different electronics to run that particular car. That has been out of stock for a little while. It will remain out of stock for a little while because we simply can't get a rock solid time on when those microprocessors are going to arrive. The good news is that only a few days ago, we were looking at, we're going to have about 50 to 100 units to be available October, November this year. So sort of the last quarter of this year is when we're going to see 50 to 100 of those units.
Right. So if you've got a Falcon, hang tight, you might get one.
We're super lucky. I shouldn't say lucky, we're super organised. Because we manufacture all of our products in-house here in Wetherill Park in Sydney, that means that we can chop and change. We've got control over our product line so that we can order microprocessors, and when shipments turn up for processors, we can start manufacturing immediately. We don't have to get in the queue anywhere. So that is a big deal for us. But we have known for a while that the 550, the 950, the 1000 series and the 2000 series, there were so many units in there and there was so much development going into all of those units combined that once we've reduced that product line, once we've got those core products there, they are getting a hell of a lot more attention. They're getting more features, they're getting more functional. It was only the other day that all of those units got keypad support, and they will have that from here on out.
And it makes things a bit easier for the customer as well. I know it did get a little bit confusing. I've got a 4-cylinder. Which one do I use? You know, do I use 550? Do you use a 1500? Like there's 4 or 5 different options. Now, if you're on a budget, you're 750. If you've got a 4-cylinder, you want race functions, you're 1500. And if you're anything else, you're a 2500 on a Nexus.
And with any luck, you're a Nexus because it's a beast, or
Nexus
a PDM with anything, because that's also great.
Mate, have I told you how stylish you're looking lately?
Well, you haven't, but I do get that a lot where I'm wearing my official Haltech clothing.
How good is this new merch range?
You know what? Without doing another sales pitch, because it feels like that's what we're rolling into. But the truth is, I just took this hoodie out of the packet to put it on for this particular video. The first thing I did when I put it on was thought, oh, this is so thick that this will actually keep me super comfortable over winter.
The quality. Okay, so we get this merch made for us. We don't buy another brand and stick our logo on something. This is actually Haltech authentic streetwear, which is made by us for us. We have full control over the quality of the fabric, the printing, everything. It's really good. It's really nice, comfortable stuff. It wears well. It's a good fit. Again, we have control over the fit. You can stand up and
for big and small, for short and tall.
We have a combination or an example of each here. We've expanded the range. We're now at extra small all the way up to 5XL, so there's a size for just about everyone. We've expanded the colours, but they're not just metallic black, you know.
Now we're in, what colour is this called?
That one would be called a petrol, I think, that one.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going for your other one of marl
grey
What's
marl.
that?
Grey marl is that, actually, yeah, that flecky looking grey. It's a lighter flecky looking grey. Yep. So you can get the classic range in black, grey marl. And also we've got a Haltech yellow, which has been extremely popular actually. It's in fact currently sold out on the website, but we're getting more in stock.
Excellent. And the web store.
The website, yes.
Well, it would look like, because we haven't had as many engine management systems to manufacture, we've got busy with something else that we probably should have updated a long time ago.
The old website has been around for a long time, but I'm happy to say it's had a full revamp. It looks fantastic. It's easier to use. You can find products on it better. There's a full searchable knowledge base now, which makes your troubleshooting a lot easier. And
mobile phone friendly.
Mobile phone friendly. Oh. Yeah, big deal. Same old URL, www.haltech.com. Go check it out.
And staying in the interwebs, we're also going to be having a look at our Planet Haltech Facebook group. So that's a group where you can go and join. You can share your Haltech engine management adventures, pictures of stickers, pictures of your whole car setup.
Talk about your favourite car movie if you like. What's your favourite car movie?
Cliched, but simple. Fast and Furious 1. It's
really?
Killer. Yeah, it really is. Or Gone in 60 Seconds is also like probably the most cliched answer ever, I guess.
You know what is cool though? There are some people have been sharing some really cool things into that group, and I picked one out here that I think is really rad. So this guy, Kurt Walters, has shared his Toyota Camry. Don't laugh. It's got a 2G RFE turbo swap.
Excellent.
It's got an Elite 2500, an IC7 dash, and it made 787 wheel horsepower. He's going to build that engine and add an all-wheel drive setup. So that thing is going to be a monster. And that's the type of stuff that people are sharing in the Planet Haltech group. You know what? I reckon we should send him some of my merch. You can't have my merch. We'll send you some new merch.
Well, you know what? I never would have known that a 2GR turbo could make 787 horsepower, so I think he deserves it. That's awesome.
Have you ever tuned one?
No, not one of them, no.
Yeah, right. Mate, I reckon we've talked enough.
Look, if you've enjoyed me and Richo just rambling, sales pitching, talking about some of these interesting things, please go and have a look at the Planet Haltech Facebook group. Join, put some posts to your particular car so that we've got something to talk about next month when we meet up and say, what are we going to talk about?
We'll put a link to the group down in the thing below. And yeah, look, you like Kurt, you might win some merch if you share something in there. So.
Yeah, let's pull some more cars like that next month so that we can throw out a bit more merchandise.
Mad. Copy later.
Thanks, guys.